Hello everyone, welcome to BI Consulting Pro. In today's video, we are going to discuss about design a data model in Power BI. As we always say that your 70% of the work should be focused on the design a data model in Power BI. Otherwise, your reports may represent the wrong data. And if it's the wrong, then there's no meaning of having those kinds of reports or dashboards. So always stay focused on the data modeling. And this is the video where you should be, because I'm going to talk about everything related to the data modeling in this video. We will start with the what is a data model, what are the different types of data model, benefits of data modeling, techniques used in the data modeling, schemas, relationships, and everything you need to know. So please stay tuned till the end of this video. Data modeling is a vast concept. Guys who are from the data background, like database developers, database designers, or data warehouse designers, they all are aware about data modeling. So in this session, we will discuss everything you need to know to design a data model in Power BI. The very first question comes into our mind is, what is a data model? So well guys, as you can see on my screen, this is the data model. That means where you are connecting your different entities or the tables through relationship with other entities or tables is known as data modeling. You can see on my screen there are the different relationships. Some are from the solid lines and others are from the dotted lines. So in Power BI, if a relationship is by solid line, it is known as active relationship. Otherwise, the dotted line relationship is known as the inactive relationships. So data can only propagate through the active relationship but not via inactive relationship. Inactive relationships can be used to create some measures and doing some calculations based on DAX. So in order to know more about the propagation of these filters, you can see there are the arrows, and also you will notice on this picture there are some of the star marks and other side is the 1. So 1 to star means it's a one to many relationship, and star to star would be the many to many, and if it's one to one, that is known as one to one relationship. Now question comes, what are the benefits of data modeling? So as I mentioned in the introduction session, that data modeling is the most important part in Power BI report creations, and you should spend your 70% of the time in data modeling. And the very first benefit is that you can retrieve the data easily and very efficiently. Second is the aggregations are simpler to build. We generally create lots of aggregations like mean, max, or doing some other kinds of calculations. Those are going to be very easy once you have a right data model into your Power BI. Thirdly, the reports are going to be more accurate. Writing the reports would take less time. That means whenever you are creating your reports, it would be very efficient and the performance of the report would be very high. And lastly, the reports are easier to maintain in the future as well. If your data model is correct, then it would take minimal efforts to maintain that data model. So let's discuss what are the different types of data modeling that exist. So the very first technique is known as entity relationship model, which we are going to use in Power BI, where your different entities means you can say the different tables, and these are connected via the different relationships. The relationships is basically based on the two key columns in both the tables or the both entities. And generally in data warehousing, we have fact and dimensional tables. In the fact table, you will find all the foreign keys, and in the dimensional table you will get all the primary keys. So primary key to foreign key relationship would exist there, and this is known as ER model or entity relationship model. Second one is the UML or unified modeling language. So as you can see on my screen, you represent by different hierarchies or the diagrams. So types of data model. So whenever anybody is creating from the scratch a new data model, so there are basically 3 different kinds of data model exist, which is gonna start from the logical data modeling, then it comes to the physical data modeling, and third is create and update the data. So as you can see on my screen, there is a process and data requirements that comes to the data logical data modeling. So that means you are just logically defining your relationships and your requirements. Then once you have your logical data model, then you can go further for your physical data modeling. And also in between them, the logical and physical data modeling, there is one more model that we generally talk about, that is the conceptual data modeling, where you just conceptualize your data model, what are the different entities and what can be their relationships and how to do that. So that's a separate part. But in physical data modeling, we ideally go for the technical requirements, then performance requirements. We maintain in database physically, we create these relationships. So there are different tools with the help of which we can do. So over here we just need to think about logically data modeling. For that you can even take your pen and paper and you can start mentioning your all the entities. Then you can see from where what kind of data you need according to your data requirements, and then you can draw your relationships over there. Once you have those, then you can get the data into Power BI. Once your data is there in Power BI, then you can start creating those relationships, and that comes into the physical data modeling. Now let's discuss about the different kinds of schemas in data modeling. I believe you have heard earlier what is a star schema, then there is a snowflake schema. So basically these are the two different data schemas that we always talk about in data modeling. But in Power BI, we always gonna use 99.9% the star schema. As you can see on your screen, there is a one fact table in between, and then it's surrounded by the different types of dimensional tables, and they are forming a star kinds of image. So that's why it's known as star schema. Now, dimensional tables are those tables basically where you are gonna fit your descriptive data. For example, customer data, employee data, and all those informations comes into the dimensional table. But when we talk about the numbers on which you have to perform the calculations, for example, your transactions, sales amount, sales quantity, etc., those are known as the fact table. In data warehousing, what we do, we always connect the dimensional table to the fact tables through our foreign key and the primary key concept. So fact table always contains the foreign keys and the dimensional table contains the primary key. If you don't know about the foreign key, primary key, please let us know so that I can make another video or I can help you out in any way. Now the second type of schema is the snowflake schema. Here you can see the tables are gonna extend from the fact table. That means dimensional table also has certain other tables related to that. If I'll talk about any dimensional table like product table, so product table have product subcategory, then category, etc., which are related to that. So in that way it can form a snowflake. So relationships and cardinality. Unlike the other database management systems, Power BI has the concepts of directionality to a relationship. This directionality or cardinality plays an important role in filtering data between multiple tables. When you load data, Power BI automatically looks for relationships that exist within the data by matching column names. You can also use manage relationships to edit these options manually. We will discuss more about this later during our demo section. So basically there are four kinds of relationship: one to many or many to one. Then it comes to one to one, and lastly it's many to one. So in one to many or many to one value can have correspondingly many values, and always look for the direction of the arrow. Head of the arrow in the very first image is pointing towards the territory table. That means that is the many side. We will talk about this more in the later stage. Data can be filtered on one or both sides of the relationship. These comes under the picture of cross filter direction. As you can see on this screen that there is a cross filter direction over here. You will notice over here this is a cross filter direction. So here we have selected both, and the relationship is many to many, but single also exists over there. So during our demo sections, I'm gonna demonstrate you how can you check this or how can you make from single to both. Please note that you should not enable bidirectional cross-filtering relationships unless you fully understand the ramification of doing so. Enabling it can lead ambiguity, oversampling, unexpected results, and potential performance degradations. Please, I'll suggest you do not turn on the cross-filtering directions in both unless until you are 101% sure that you need it over there. So in many cases we need it, for example applying the row level securities and all. So guys, now this is the demo time where we are gonna have our demo. and we will see how to create a data model, what are the relationships, how you can change the relationships, everything you need to know. In this demo section, we will see how we can create model relationships, configure table and properties, creating hierarchies. So the very first, as I have introduced you with this layout of the Power BI desktop applications earlier as well. Now what we are gonna do, first of all, we are gonna see that our tables have been loaded over here, and you can see that 7 tables have been loaded in the fields pane. So this is the first step, that your tables should be loaded from all the data sources. We have 3 tabs over here. The one is the report one, where I am currently. The second is the data tab, where I can see the data. If I'll come over here, I select any of the table, I can see the data and the fields in these tables. And third is the model view. So this model view, if you are on a latest version of the Power BI desktop, it would ask you first, do you want to upgrade it or not? I'll always say upgrade, because this would provide you a couple of new features that would be very helpful for doing the data modeling in Power BI. So upgrade it. Once you will click upgrade, in the properties pane on your right hand side, you will see these are the cards. These all the tables over here, you can see they are being treated as a card. So show the database in the headers when applicable, just say yes, because if it's coming from a database, it would show you the database in the header. Second is the show key field when card is collapsed. So there is a collapse. If I'll just zoom in a bit, you will see the database icon is over here. And secondly, collapse. Once you will collapse, it's saying show key field. So what is the key value field in this table? It's gonna show you even when it's collapsed. If you will expand it, you can do that. Still, if you want to arrange it according to you, you can do this. So you can see that I can increase and decrease the height. Also, I can manage the width of this table. But for the timing, we don't need to do that. If you want to, you can do that. And thirdly, pin key field on the top of the card. So this is very important. It's going to help you out to identify which is the key column in this table, and keys are nothing but the fields that we use to make the relationship or to create the relationship between different entities or the different tables. On the top ribbon, you will get a couple of options, and the very important one over here is the manage relationships. So this relationship button, if you will click over here, it would open up a new window. And over here you can create the relationships. Either you can use this option of auto detect relationship, or you can create the new as well from yourself. So suppose if I create the new, it would give me the option, okay, which table you want to use for the relationship. I'll say I want to use the sales table, and the sales relationship I want to make for the product table. So once you are going to select these 2 tables, then you will see automatically it's detecting a relationship based on product key. If you want to change that, you can change that. There's no issue in that. For example, I want to make the relationship between product key and reseller key. I can select this. If the column names are different, then you can create yourself. So I'm moving it back to the product key. Now you will get a couple of options over here. Cardinality. Cardinality, basically the uniqueness in ideal scenario, but over here it's gonna give us the options like we want many to one, one to many, what kind of relationship. So you will see here we will get the 4 relationships as we discussed in the slideshow previously. Many to one, where you will see star colon 1. So star always represents many, 1 means 1. Then again 1 to 1, 1 to many, and many to 1. In the cross filter direction, as I also mentioned previously, we got single and both. Single means only one table can filter another. Both means any table on the both sides of the relationship can filter any other table. So you can create the slices from any of those one, and then you can create it. Always remember that your slicers should come from the dimensional table only. From the fact table, there should be no slicers. And though in Power BI, we should always try to flatten the table, but still your table should be different, like fact and dimensional tables should be different. So it should not be like you are getting the data, whole bunch of data from the one table only, and you are going to increase the size of the table. Once the size of the table is going to increase a lot, then firstly it would take time to load the data or to refresh the data, and secondly, in case of future, if you want to update, insert or delete any rows, it would create a lots of issues for you. always try to put the data in different tables, but on the same time you should also try to flatten the data. Flatten the data means if we have product subcategory or category, then we can make them into one table, but that doesn't mean that customer table and the product table also you need to combine into one table. Moving forward, you will see the one option over here which is tick mark, make this relationship active. If you untick this option, then it's gonna not make it active. That relationship would be there, but that would be inactive. And then there is a assume referential integrity and the apply security in both directions. So apply security in both directions is going to appear when you are gonna select both option. Then it's gonna highlight and then you can do that. But always do this option check over here, but always check this option over here once you are implementing RLS. For that I have already created one video, so if you want to check, you can go and check on YouTube channel. Link also I'm gonna provide in the description section. Now make this relationship active and always try to go with the single one. If you select many to many, then you will see there are three options are appearing: single, product filter sales, single, sales filters product, and third is a both. So what does that mean? On the first one we are gonna say single, but in this case only product table should filter the sales table. Second one we are saying opposite to that, and third is the both, means any of the table can filter any of the one. So no matter which relationship you are selecting, you are gonna get the option for both. However, if you select one to one and you select single over here, you won't get this is gonna appear over here. Then also you see both, it's not gonna appear over here. So OK button would only highlight once there is a chance to create that relationship, otherwise it won't. And it's gonna give you one message as well over here, which is a warning: the cardinality you have selected isn't valid for this relationship. So you will always get a warning over here. If there is a relationship possible between there, then it's gonna say yes, click OK, otherwise no. Now let's try the auto detect relationship. So once I select auto detect, you will see it's saying auto detect found 7 new relationship, because we have 7 tables, so it would automatically appear over here. So you can check or uncheck over here if you don't want that relationship. If you want, you can keep it. Also, if you want to edit the relationship, you can do that. You can come over here. As I mentioned earlier, it's right now auto detecting from the employee key to employee key in both tables, sales and salesperson. If you want to change, you can change, but make sure you are doing the right change over here. So let's cancel this. So this was the way that how you can create the relationships in Power BI data modeling. And since I did the auto detect, so everything is appearing over there. Now let's see, if I don't want to do this kind of relationships, how I can actually create the relationships. So you will see employee ID is there in this column. Let me just zoom it a bit more so that you can see this clearly. I'm collapsing this fields pane for now. I know that I can see over here clearly there is a common field between these tables, employee ID and employee ID. And if you are well aware about your data, you would know that how you can actually create the relationship between these two tables on which field. So I'm just going to drag and drop on the field that I want to create the relationship. As soon as I do that, you will see automatically it has created the relationship. It has a relationship now over here. From the one side of the sales table, you can see the one marked over here, to the many side of targets table. That means one employee ID over here has many rows in the targets table, which is possible. There is a link in the description section where I have mentioned the propagation concept in the data modeling, or the filters and how it propagates. So this relationship is very important, and this arrowhead size is really important to get to know how the tables are getting filtered out. You are looking at this plus sign at the bottom. Once you will click on this, you will see the new layout. So just click on this. So right now you will see they are not well arranged over here. So once you will come over here, you can just create auto layout, and it's gonna create a layout for you. Now sales table is our fact table, and you will notice over there that all the dimensional table has one side and your sales table has the many sides. So all the star marks over here. Over here all the relationships are one to many, and make sure the relationships are gonna work like that only. If you want to change at any point of the relationship, you can do that. You can just double click on this one and this pop-up again appears. You can even make it to inactive relationship. So once you will see inactive relationship, over here you will notice that it's not a solid line now, so it's being converted into dotted line. So dotted lines always show you the inactive relationship, solid lines are gonna always show you the active relationship. Data can only be filtered through the active relationship, not by the inactive relationship. Now next point is, if I'll again want to see if any of my table is gonna relate it to another table. So generally we have 50 or maybe hundreds of the table in our data model, and I'm not able to figure out how this table is connected with the other table. So what I can do, I'll just drag my table over here. You will see sales table is right now over here. You can even collapse it if you want to, and all the key columns are gonna appear on the top of this one. So let's expand it. You will go over here, 3 dots over here, just click on this and you will say add related tables, and now all the tables which are related to this are gonna be added over here. So you can even give the new layout name, you can change the layout name the way you think it's good. So this is gonna help you a lot if you have a lot of tables and you want to see one table relationship with the other table, so how the other tables are related with the one table. Let's come to the property pane now. So over here in the properties pane, if I select any of the table, you will see some of the properties where you can give the name, you can give the description. Even if you want to call it, instead of sales, you can even say the fact sales table. You can give it a synonyms and it's done. Now you have its synonyms, you have its description, you have actual names. Then there is the row label. So over here there are the different keys, you can select out of them and you can put them as a row labels. Then there are the key columns, so you can even select the key columns as well over here. If you want to make this table as hidden, you don't want to show, generally what happens whenever we are creating our data model, then we always make sure that only necessary columns and the necessary tables are gonna be visible in our data model. Otherwise they can create a lot of confusions to the end users or to the other developers as well who are gonna work on the same report. So if you don't need this table, you can hide it. For example, over here this target table has no meaning for me, so I'm just gonna hide it. Once you will hide it, you will see this icon over here, eye kind of icon, and there's a cross mark, so it's gonna hidden it over here. Now there are some of the advanced options. You can even change its storage mode to direct query and dual if it's possible. If it's not possible, then you won't get it. Now let's expand this product table and we'll see what we can do over here. You can see as soon as I select a table over here, you won't find any folder option in the properties pane, but if I select any of the field product category, there is a display folder is appearing over here. So I'm gonna create now a products information folder over here. So you will see this is the folder now. Now in this products information folder, I can create as many as field I want to. Now I want to select one more field into this one, that is my product key. So I can select again the product key and type again the name over here, product info. The folder name should be exactly same, and again hit the enter. This is gonna move into product info folder, you can see over here. Once you decide that you don't need this folder anymore, so how you can reverse the process? So you will come here, you will select the field product key and just delete this display folder name and hit the enter, and you will see it is coming back under the product table. So what we want to do right now, we want to create a date table. Right now we don't have any date table into these one, if you will see clearly. But if I'll go in the data pane, you will see the option, there is a date in the sales table. That is my order date. There is no other date column over here. So based on my order date, I want to create a date table. So for that, what you can do, you will come over here in the data pane, there is a new table. Click on this field. You need a small DEX over here. So I'll say my date table, it should be my date table. First you need to give name, then the equal sign which is gonna separate your expression and the table name. There are two options, calendar and calendar auto. So calendar auto, what it does, it's a DEX function. It's gonna say returns a table with one column of all the dates between the start date and end date. So either you can mention your start date and end date over here, or you can use the calendar auto function, and you just need to provide here the fiscal year and month. That means it's saying returns a table with one column of dates calculated from the model automatically. So either you can just close it down and hit the enter, and you will see you are getting a new date table over here. So it would automatically get all the data from your data model, and based on that date it can give you the table. Now you will notice over here this is the date column we have, but I don't need in date and time. I can just do some of the formatting. I can make it date. Now I can create the other columns as well as I can format it. So what you can do, come in the format, and I need the format which is this DDMMYY. This is my date. Now I can create the certain other columns as well. For example, I'm gonna create the new column which is my month number. In order to create the month number, what you can use DEX over here, which is my month. Month is a DEX function which is gonna take the date column from date table, and it's gonna give you the month number. Now once you create the date column, you always need to remember that you should mark this date table as a date table. Why? Because all the DEX time intelligence functions are only gonna work once your date table or the date column in the date table has been marked as date table. So you select the date table, and there's a button under the table tools, and you will see mark as a date table, and select this. Once you will do, you will see a pop-up box over here which is going to ask you to select the column. We have our date column, this one. It's been validated successfully. There is a no gap between any of the rows or the dates. That's how it validates it, and click OK. Now you can start creating any measures over here. Now since we have our date column, but I can see that we don't have the relationship of this newly created date table with any other, so we can do that. This table, which is my sales table, this should have a date so that I can do this relationship. So we have already this order date and this date. So what I can do, I can just drag and drop over this one, and you can do that. But many of the times it's not gonna work. Then just try to drag and drop another field and go back to the main field which you intended to do so. And you will see it's nicely creating the one-to-many relationship over there. That means if I select any of the date from my date dimension table, it's gonna filter this date table on the order date. Now, let's come to the part where I need to create the hierarchy. So how I can create the hierarchies over here? You can come in the fields pane, come to this date table, and on the date table I want to create a hierarchy on this date field. I can right click over here and I'll say create hierarchy. Once you will create hierarchy, it would automatically create a field where it's showing date, and now you can place other fields inside it. For example, first I need date, then I need the year. After date, now year is appearing. Now I also need the month. So again, drag and drop on the date hierarchy, month number, and even now you can do the week number as well. So again, drag and drop. So that's how you can create your hierarchies, and this can be for any other tables as well, like target table, product table, or any other table. So this is just an example how you can even create the hierarchy. Let me create a chart quickly over here. Now, as per my hierarchy, first of all, it should show me the year, then month number, then week number. On the top of this chart, you see there is a bar which is gonna say something. It's saying click to turn on drill down. So once you will select this, that means your drill down is on. And we have already hierarchy over here, which is year, month number, and week number. Now we can drill down it. We will go there and select these arrows. First, it's gonna come on the month, and then if I'll go one more, then it's gonna come on the week numbers. So that's how we can utilize the hierarchies over there. So if I'll go over here in the advanced tab, what will you do? Now select any of the column and you will see this formatting tab is appearing. So you can even manage your data formats over here as well. You need this as a whole number, text, decimal, or whatsoever, and even you can manage the formats. So I have this date column and I want to change its date format as well. So there's a lots of options over here. So that's also you can do in the data modeling pane, which was not earlier. If you have any further questions, please comment in the comment section and let us know. And also please don't hesitate to provide your feedback. For more videos, stay tuned to our channel and hit the bell icon.